Apprentices and acolytes, what is up? I actually want to find out what is the greatest game for Star Wars. And this is a very personal experience because there are so many incredible games for Star Wars. I mean, when you think about Star Wars, its franchise is so valuable, right? Not just, of course, with monetary and beneficial profit. No, I'm talking about what it means to us as fans. Because sometimes the movies don't necessarily do everything you need them to. And there's a lot of incredible movies out there for Star Wars. But playing in the game, giving yourself ambience, and that's the one thing I feel like a lot of the Star Wars movies don't do enough for us, is that they don't give us enough ambience. Well, what is ambience? The character and atmosphere of a place. Apprentices and acolytes, that is the most beautiful thing for Star Wars, is the ambience, the setting, living in the world as it is. And of course, there are so many video games for Star Wars that come to me at the first mind, the first thought, Knights of the Old Republic. If there is a game that I would love deleted from my memory to play again and experience for the first time, that is it. It's Knights of the Old Republic. And a lot of people are going to choose this as the perfect game of Star Wars. But as I'm talking about this, let me know what you think is the perfect game for Star Wars, or at the very least, what experience for Star Wars gave you the reason why you think X game is the greatest Star Wars game of all time. And like we said about Star Wars, the Knights of the Old Republic games, because they gave us so much lore, there was so much that you could do, you really felt like you, the character, played as Darth Revan, and of course the Exile, Matrix Surik. But then there's games like Rogue Squadron and Republic Commando. All these games offered so much, not just to characters and elements of Star Wars, like fighter pilots and star pilots and clones and Republic Commandos from an already existing mysterious characterization of the clones that we have. There's just so many components of Star Wars, so many little gears that click and work together to make the war machine of Star Wars. And that's why it's so beautiful, because it's not just about the Force, it's not just about lightsabers and cool lasers and space battles, it's about all these other things that make together in that recipe for the gorgeous flavor of Star Wars everybody wants a piece of. I mean, even that old Revenge of the Sith movie game that came out a while back, that game was so silly, but it was good. And Star Wars has this thing sometimes with a lot of its creations back in the day where there was just a plethora of Star Wars video games that would come out. And of course, the movie games are always coming out, and there were so many different variants of the movie games. But I remember the Revenge of the Sith game where it was kind of like a fighting game, and you played as Anakin Skywalker, and you stormed the Jedi Temple, and you killed thousands of younglings and so many other Jedi. But also there's a parts of that game too that I will always remember, like the alternate endings, you know, playing as Anakin and taking out the Emperor and claiming the galaxy for your own, right? And then of course there is the Star Wars Galaxies video game. That sadly is a game I never got to experience. There are private servers to this day that go on and you can get the main experience. And if you haven't played this game, please, I urge you, even though I'm not doing this for myself and I should listen to my own advice, right? Because Star Wars Galaxies is that game every Star Wars fan should play. But there is one game that stands above them all for me, and it's on this mountain that no other Star Wars video game can take. Because the game that stands above them all, the game that gives me the greatest experience for Star Wars, and that is Star Wars: The Old Republic. What? No way. Everybody's clicking out of the video right now. I know for a fact, fam, but just give me a second, all right? Let's go. Let me tell you why I enjoy this. I'm not someone who had a lot of friends. I still don't have a lot of friends. I prefer quality over quantity, and that's only because I make the excuse because I'm just not great at making friends because I'm just so awkward and all I want to do is talk about Star Wars. But here's the thing. This game came out very near 2012, 2011, around that time. It was pushed back so many times because it was by far one of the most ambitious MMOs ever created at the time, because it was the first fully voiced MMO. You didn't have to read the subtitles, but we still do. But the idea of playing a Jedi, playing a Sith, using these factions in the Old Republic, which was arguably and still is one of the most popular eras of Star Wars, right? This was the game that was coming out, and it was made by BioWare. BioWare, the legendary dev that also gave you Knights of the Old Republic, right? No, we want Knights of the Old Republic 3. No, we're giving you an MMO. And I was excited about the MMO, and I still am to this day. But there are so many components of an MMO that I feel like a lot of people, you just can't really understand until you experience it for yourself. Queue times in the server, loading up and figuring out your class, and going into the world and actually socializing, engaging with players from all over, not just from your home planet or the same faction, but also players who are on the enemy faction. So say you're a Jedi and you see a Sith. Is this guy gonna kill you? Is he gonna take your money? What's going on here? Is he gonna call his buddies and jump you with his friends? It's that type of experience that I feel like makes Star Wars, or at the very least MMOs, the most incredible genre of video games to ever play. And it's insane. But here's the real story. I didn't really have a lot of friends to play with. Often I would just play by myself. In fact, I got to a part of the game where I just didn't know how to level up correctly and play correctly, and I did not have friends back then to play with me, so I just stopped playing. Yeah, very sad. Anyway, who cares? So it's incredible because what I did is I started to figure out the worlds in the game. I really tried to understand the basic MMO necessities and fundamentals that you have to play and learn in the game. What I started to realize when I was alone is like the work that a lot of these people that play this game, that created this game, put into the world. You'd walk around certain cities, for instance, Dromenkos, one of my favorite planets in all Star Wars, one of my favorite planets inside the game. And the NPCs would just be sitting there and they'd have conversations. And every time you'd walk around, they'd have different conversations, and they'd talk about the Dark Temple and how people would go into the Dark Temple and they get possessed and they didn't know what to do, and they just leave people in there and they hear screams and hollers. And then you go to Nar Shaddaa and you see a bounty hunter running around and taking out NPCs, and you see that same bounty hunter on Dromenkos. There's just so many different things and levels of layered environmental storytelling that just helps you sit inside that game longer and longer by yourself, because you see the effort, you see the love that these people are so passionate about Star Wars. But when you play the game alone, there is a certain environment, right? There is a friend there that actually isn't there, and that is the game itself, because the game is living. You have components and elements of the Star Wars universe there. For instance, like the Imperial Fleet. I loved going down to the Imperial Fleet. And there's this one spot inside this game that always gives me the greatest experience. And you have this Hut Cartel area where you go off, and if you're really good at the game, you can trade your in-game currency and rewards and awards for mounts and other types of rewards that you get throughout the game. And I got really curious, and I just started jumping on top of platforms, and eventually I found the hangar, where a spot in the hangar where I could just kind of go through everybody and find this silent, peaceful part of the hangar. And here it is. This is actually the footage that I recorded back then. This is probably, I think, like 2014 to 2015 footage. And I would just stay here and come to my thoughts and watch the Star Destroyers. They're not called Star Destroyers back then. Watch the Star Destroyers just all line up and then launch into hyperspace. And you'll have that nice, dull, silent space hum of the hangar, and listening to the blip and the power of the Star Destroyers sending off every single one of them into hyperspace. And I will never forget that experience in Star Wars The Old Republic, Star Wars MMO, because it is one of the greatest experiences that I've ever had in a Star Wars game, and I love it. And oftentimes I will finally update it again because I'm free to play because I can't afford anything. So I will go in there on my day when I can, and I'll go in there. Maybe I'll visit the Nar Shaddaa cantina where all the kids used to role play and everything. I was one of those nerds. Yeah, you know, it's just something that I feel like you live inside that game. And those games will always stick with you because of that experience. Whether you're commenting about Knights of the Old Republic and Jango Fett Bounty Hunter, even the new Battlefront games, somebody has an experience out there and they're gonna tell the tale inside the comment section. And I wanna read every single one of yours. So please, let me know what's going on. What do you think is the perfect Star Wars game and why? Is it a personal experience? Is it just maybe because that game is that good? All right, fam. Thanks so much, Apprentices and Acolytes. I hope to see you in the next video. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you around. Deuces. I am so ready for Boba Fett tonight. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go.